Good morning, Year 2, and welcome to your Wednesday reading lesson. I'm going to share my screen and let's get started. Okay, wonderful. Right, a little starter today. Now, we know that Flat Stanley is a fictional story, and fiction, we know, means that it's made up, it's not real, it's creative, it can be anything can happen. Meanwhile, non-fiction is real information. It tells you facts and figures and shows you photographs and things like that. So what is the difference between fiction and non-fiction features? So here are a list of about 8 features, and I want you to read them and have a go and work out which ones are going to go into fiction and which ones are going to be non-fiction. Pause your screen and have a go now. Okay, well done. If you need a little bit longer, remember to pause it again and you can keep sorting. So let's go through them and you can mark them off yourself and self-mark them and work out which ones are which. So fiction, let's start. So we have got fiction. Which ones are going to go in fiction? So let's read. So it has characters, a problem and a solution. That one is going to go into fiction. So I'm going to put an F next to it for fiction. Okay, real pictures and dates. That's going to be non-fiction because that's going to be giving us real images of things that exist and dates. So when things happened, so facts and figures. Has a glossary, an index and a table of contents. And that is going to be non-fiction because you don't have to read a non-fiction book in order. You can go to the contents and be like, oh, I want to read about the Great Fire of London. Oh, that's on page 12. Or go to the index and find, oh, I can see that I want to look up about if it's an animal book about lions. Oh, I can go to page 22, 38 and 65 for those. And then a table, an index, a glossary will tell you what things mean. And quite often when you read non-fiction text, there's really hard vocabulary, new words you haven't heard before. So a glossary will tell you what they mean. Read to learn, again, is non-fiction because you're getting information, you're getting facts, you're getting things that you would learn. And quite often when we read about a new topic or we're doing like a history lesson or a geography lesson and we're learning new information, we would read a fact file or something like that. And that would be reading to learn. Tells a story in order or in sequence is going to be fiction because, as I said before, non-fiction, you can read it in different orders, really, within reason, sort of thing. Animals talk, that's fiction. Read for fun, that is fiction. Now, I would say that also you can read non-fiction for fun because I do like a bit of non-fiction, but fiction you would definitely read for fun. You wouldn't really read it to learn information. You would learn some things about it, maybe what new words mean and stuff like that, but you wouldn't be reading it for like a lesson learning activity. It gives information about a topic. That is going to be non-fiction. So mark them all, and if you've got them all right, well done. Give yourself a thumbs up. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, our quick reading starter today is looking at the R sound, the sound, but sometimes in words it's spelled with a W in front of it, and that W is silent. Okay, so that W is a silent W, so we pronounce the words as we pronounce the sound as and we at the beginning of those sounds as So the word is, so the text is called wrestling and writing. If you want to pause the screen and mute me and read it yourself, you can. Or if you'd like to listen to me read it, I'm going to read it now. So, wrestling and writing. Wren liked wrestling, but he hurt his wrist. He wrapped his wrist. He can't wriggle his wrist yet. Mr. Wright liked to write. He was not a good writer. He wrecked poems and stories. He always wrote the wrong things. So, now we've got some quick fire questions to answer. So, what did Wren hurt? What can't he do with his wrist? What did Mr. Wright wreck? And I want you to pause the screen and have a go at your answers, being really careful about how you spell them using this WR spelling. Off you go. Pause the screen. Okay, well done. Fantastic. So if we go through the answers together, what did Wren hurt? We would have got that Wren hurt his wrist. So Wren hurt his wrist. What can't he do with his wrist? He can't wriggle it. What did Mr. Wright wreck? He wrecked poems and stories. So if you got all of those right, give yourself a thumbs up, a pat on the back, a well done. Good job. Right, we're going to carry on reading our text this morning, okay, and reading about the Flat Stanley story. And as I said, we're near the end now, so I think next week will be our final week on Stanley. And then, fingers crossed, we might be back in school to do a bit of reading together. You never know, we'll have to wait and see. So, Stanley sat up in bed to watch. Remember, Arthur was rummaging through it, had an idea how to help Stanley. He was rummaging through his bedroom. Arthur flung aside a football and some lead soldiers and an aeroplane models and lots of wooden blocks. And then he said, aha! He had found what he wanted, an old bicycle pump. He held it up and Stanley and he looked at each other. Okay, Stanley said at last, but take it easy. He put the end of the long pump hose in his mouth and clamped his lips tightly about it so that no air could escape. I'll go slowly, Arthur said. If it hurts or anything, wiggle your hand at me. He began to pump. At first, nothing happened except that Stanley's cheeks bulged a bit. So bulge means get bigger, a bit like a hamster's cheek. Arthur watched his hand, but there was no wiggle signal. So he pumped on. Then suddenly, Stanley's top half began to swell like a balloon, get bigger. It's working, it's working, shouted Arthur, pumping away. And you can see there in the picture, there's the pump, and there's him pumping away, putting the air into Stanley. Stanley spread his arms that the air could get around him, inside him more easily. He got bigger and bigger. The buttons of his pajama top burst off. Pop, pop, pop. A moment more, and he was all rounded out, head and body, arm and legs, but not his right foot. That foot stayed flat. Arthur stopped pumping. It's like trying to do the very last bit of those long balloons, he said. Maybe a shake would help. Stanley shook his right foot twice, and with a little whooshing sound, it swelled out to match the left one. There stood Stanley Lambchop as he used to be, as if he had never been flat at all. Wow, that's amazing. So if we take some of the key words from there, we go back, we've got a pump hose, so we know what one of those are. We know it was what you use for a balloon or to blow up a tyre that's gone flat and to put air into something. So Stanley's had this, Arthur's had this idea to put the air back into Stanley, and hopefully he won't be flat anymore. He said, if you're hurt, wiggle your hand. So wiggle, that means to shake it around a little bit. And he's clamped his lips tightly about it. So he's clamped means to go over the top of something. So we might clamp something in, like put it into a clamp, we put it over something. Okay. Bigger and bigger, we know what that means. And we also know pumping would mean to put in the air into him. Swell is to like blow up, and bulge is to get bigger. Okay. So and then whooshing means it's spreading all around. Okay, so with a partner, if you're at home, do it on your own or with a family member. Summarise in 3 sentences. So write down 3 sentences or talk it through, summing up what has just happened. But you're only allowed to use 3 sentences. Pause the screen and have a go now. Okay, well done. So my summary in 3 sentences would be: Arthur found the pump. He put it on Stanley. At first it didn't work, but then it started to. Stanley was like he had been before, like he had never been flat. It was about 4 sentences, but I'll try my best next time to maybe use conjunctions. You can make them longer sentences, then you can get more in. Okay, well done. So we're going to carry on like we were doing yesterday with our inference. And like we talked about, inference is to look for clues to answer questions. It's not taking it out of the text like we were doing for retrieval. It's using the clues, it's using the information to answer questions, which require a bit more looking for clues and a bit more information. So questions we're going to be looking at are: how do you think the person felt and why? So we're looking at, I might not say Miss Druce was happy, but you might see from my happy smile that she was happy, or because she has a bar of chocolate, she was happy. We're going to say, why did a person or a character do something? So why are they doing something? Why are they feeling like that? Why is that happening? Why are they behaving like that? And our steps to success are very similar to our retrieval ones. We're going to read a question. We're going to find the key words in the question. We're then going to find them in the text. We're going to read around the keywords to find the answer. We're going to look for clues to find the answer. And we're going to look for reasons in the text to support the answer. And then we will write down our answer and reason. So we're using those clues, but we're saying, right, I think this. And the reason I think this is because of these bits in the text. These bits support my answer. They support my thinking. Right. So let's have a little practice with another little bit of text. So suddenly there was a crash of thunder. The dog barked and sat behind the sofa. So does everyone know what thunder is? In the sky, it's when there's a storm, it's a loud rumble, a loud noise, a loud sound. So there was a crash of thunder. The dog barked and sat shaking behind the sofa. So how is the dog feeling and why? So pause the screen and have a go now. How is the dog feeling and why? Okay, well done. So any of the answers that you could have put for how the dog's feeling is you could put scared, terrified, worried, anxious, frightened. All of these really good words that sort of mean the same thing, that describe when you're feeling really worried or scared or things like that. And the reason he's feeling like that, or we can have lots of different reasons, but the reasons we use the text to help us could be because he's scared of thunder, because he doesn't like thunder, because he is shaking. He is shaking because of the thunder. So you're telling me, you're looking at all the reasons, all the clues in the text. We've got he's shaking, we've got thunder, and we're saying that actually these bits are backing up my idea that he's scared. It's because of the thunder, and it's because he's shaking. They're the clues that I know that means he's scared. There's thunder, people don't like thunder. He's shaking, he's barked, probably means that he's quite worried and frightened. Okay, so well done if you've got any of those answers similar to mine. Because you couldn't put he was frightened because his owner wasn't there, because we don't know that. We have to use the clues that we've got to make our inferences, okay? So here is your practice question. Why do you think Arthur said, aha? Why did he say, aha? So let's go back to the text. Let's find Arthur and let's find aha. So there's Arthur and there's aha. Let's read around. Why did he say, aha? Okay, have a little go, pause the screen. Okay, and well done if you've got that. So the reason he said, aha, was because he had found what he was looking for. Look in the text, it says he rummaged all the way through and then he went, aha. So we know that it's probably because he'd found what he was looking for. He'd found what he needed. He doesn't actually say that's why he said, aha, but we've inferenced that that's why. Okay. Now, on your assignment today, your assignment is on Teams and you've got some questions that are all about their why and how questions, using the text, inferencing, looking for those clues. So you can go on there and answer those questions as an assignment. And then for your stretch today, can you find some words from the text and define what they mean? So go back over the text that we've read today and pick out some of those key words. And like you did yesterday for your main task, define what they mean, tell me what they mean, and think of other words that could mean the same thing. Okay, so there's your two activities today, your two bits of learning that you're going to do. So pause me now and turn the video off, or you keep it on and you can go back to the text and have a go at doing your assignment. I look forward to reading them and I'll give you your feedback on Teams. Have a lovely morning and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.